So today for our devotion, it's going to come from Job. And, frankly, it's going to come from a different parts of Job. Yes, I'm reading from Job. Yes, it's the Old Testament. I love the Old Testament. I love preaching on it. I love teaching on it. It's good stuff. But the first part comes from chapter 33 of Job. So this is after he's lost everything. This is after he's lamented losing everything. And this is after some of his friends have tried to comfort him, advise him, whatever. So this is Elihu answering Job. And here's what he starts off, or this is actually in 32, he says, I am young in years and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak and many years teach wisdom. But it is the spirit in man, the breath of the Almighty, that makes him understand. It is not the old who are wise, nor the aged who understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me, let me also declare my opinion. And he goes on, he rebukes Job, he says, who are you to question God? And what I love about this is if you flip just a couple chapters later here in the text, he's proclaiming God's majesty, and then God answers Job. So the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Dress for action like a man, I will question you, and you make it known to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you understand. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? Who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. And it goes on like this, with God questioning Job for chapters, for pages. Like it's still, this is 3 pages later. I have a small print Bible, and we're in chapter 41, and he's still, and then in 42, Job confesses and repents. So the background for this, most of it I gave you in kind of introducing it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the story of Job, he loses everything and he gets a lot of bad advice about how to respond to all the terrible things happening in his life. And I'll be fully honest, Job is a really hard book to read. I've been through it time and time again, and probably 8 times. I read through the entire book 8 times, and when I was on vicarage, that was a couple years ago, it finally clicked. Like, I read Job and I was like, oh, I get it. Kind of. Better than I did. So that's Job. I want to pull out 2 lessons from this text. The first lesson I want to pull out is it's kind of, this is why it's one of my personal verses, is that first part with Elihu. He speaks profound truth there. He says it's not age that makes a man wise, and I kind of picking up on some of the previous devotions, I don't think it's anything else that we typically think of when we think of wisdom. It's not degrees, it's not education. Now those are God-given gifts, and there's a lot of value to those. But it's the Spirit of God that makes someone wise, especially when it comes to our relationship with God. It's the Spirit of the Almighty. It's the work of God in someone's life and through them and through their words, not themselves, not their age or their experience or their education or whatever else. So that's something I, especially as a young guy, obviously, who's speaking the word of God to people, that's a little bit of like a relief for me, because Elihu was right. God kind of came and he was like, yeah, that guy was right. You shouldn't have questioned me. And I think the other thing that we take from this is essentially when Job says, like, why is this going wrong? I don't deserve all this. This is so terrible. God says, who are you to question what I'm doing and how I'm doing it? And he kind of leaves it at that. He goes on for chapter after chapter saying, who are you to question me? And it's humbling because we think we deserve to know things, and the reality is we don't. So the application, I think, mainly from this section of Job that's close to my heart is we're not God and we don't deserve to know what he's doing and why. He tells us sometimes, and that feels great. And sometimes we can look back and we can say, oh, that's what God was doing, but we don't always get the full picture. But we will at the resurrection. It's coming. All right, brothers and sisters, go in peace, says the Lord. Thanks be to God.